Hey guys, my name's Deedman, and welcome to a new world that I've been working on for a while. Actually, I recorded some of it, but a lot of that recording was corrupted and botched, and so I had to get rid of it, which is really annoying, because I'm trying to, and I have wanted to for a while, build a city in Minecraft. This dream started when I was playing on Xbox, a long time ago when I was a kid. But it's just really hard to build big sections of stuff in Minecraft on, especially Xbox, where you can't use commands to, like, fill certain areas and stuff. So now that I'm on PC, I was like, hey, I might as well try. So, as you can see in the past recordings, I've made at least a road and somewhat of a building and a parking lot for the building. But if these grates on the ground, you can see, I've used the scaffolding kind of as a sewer grate to get down into the sewers underneath my roads. Filled them with a little bit of water, make it look like it was kind of broken down with the mossy cobblestone and stuff. And I've used the redstone lamps, or torches, but they apparently don't make enough light to stop mobs from spawning. So what did I do? I forgot. So I went through and grabbed some other torches, but instead, actually, I grabbed a end rod. Sorry, I'm commentating this after the fact of recording. It's just easier to do it this way. I've never done it before, but hey. So I went through with end rods, as you can see, and filled out the area, lighting up the rest of it. Was thinking of putting them in the walls like that, but it just makes sense more to put them into the ground. So I went through, filled that up, with some end rods and stuff. They break in the water, which is really annoying because there's water like everywhere. In my sewers. So anyway, I set the time to night to make sure it was dark enough to check it. Or actually midnight, because if you set it to night, it'll set it to the evening right as the sun is going down, so there's still some light from above. Set the difficulty back to peaceful so that all the mobs that were in there despawned, and then set it back to easy so that they respawned. Went into the cavities on the side, because in my past recordings, when I first made the road, before I remembered that you could even use commands to fill an area, I placed all of this black asphalt, or black concrete, by hand, or like about half of it, over an area that I had dug out with TNT. That's why it's all so random looking, the broken up areas of dirt and stuff. So, and then I built the sewer system underneath that. So I went outside into the area that was all broken down, all the dirt area, lit that up as well so that nothing spawned outside of the sewer area. And then I had an idea to, spawn in, have like some bats and silverfish and stuff spawn, make it seem a little bit more like a kind of an overgrown sewer, because the silverfish kind of remind me of little rats. So I put some dispensers on the sides, lit up a little bit more because there was a creeper there. Put some dispensers on the sides of the, just beating to death a creeper, on the sides of the sewer wall. They kind of blend in a little bit with the, aesthetic of the mossy cobblestone. But then, as I tried here to just dig out an area by hand where I was going to put the, repeaters, because I was going to make a giant redstone clock under the ground here so that it slowly let out silverfish and bats, I remembered again that you can use commands. So I went up to the corner up here, checked out my coordinates, put in the fill command there, and then put in the fill command from the other corner and filled it with air, the Minecraft block air, because any block that doesn't have a physical block in it is counted in the game as air. So I emptied out a big area. As you can see, there were a bunch of mobs that immediately spawned because it was so dark. So I put around a bunch of end rods to light it up, and now I'm here placing the redstone repeaters and stuff for my clock, and this is going to take quite a while, so I'm going to actually speed this up in a second. But I put these all to 4 tick, the longest amount for each of them to send a signal, so that I could give it the maximum amount of time to between spawnings of the silverfish and stuff. And you can see I'm sped it up here, and I'm gonna speed it up even more now, because there is a lot. I think I did 5 rows of this, and you saw that I dug into the wall there. I tested it to see how long that would take, and for me that was not long enough, so I made even more rows. And if you see, I kind of dig into the walls every now and then. That's because if I didn't, the redstone dust at the making the turns would connect to the redstone dust from the previous section, so it would have messed it all up, and as soon as the redstone signal got to that first turn, it would have sent it to the second turn and then to the third turn as well, messing up the entire clock. So I dug out a little loop coming around here so that as the signal went around, it would loop back around and start the clock again, at the same time sending the signal down to the dispensers. So yeah, I just filled this area, filled it up with some redstone. I didn't do any timers or anything on this because I wanted it to get back to the beginning as quickly as possible. And I didn't realize you can stand on a redstone repeater even if you're in a 2-block space, but you can't place one beneath you. So it does have height, but not enough to cause your player model to automatically crouch, which was kind of a cool thing to for me at least. So I checked out all these, put in some more repeaters because the signal didn't repeat itself, and finally it did. So I went through and filled in, or checked the signal first, I guess, and it goes down and then it sends the signal all the way through and then repeats the signal. So I went through and filled in a big strip to put the redstone on to head it out to the dispensers, and I realized that it would take a lot of repeaters here, so I just decided, it'd be better just to make a lot of it just repeaters. And I also was like, hey, I don't want like overcrowded silverfish and bats in the sewer system, so I just did this on one side of the sewers. Only one side of the sewers dispensers were actually used and actually hooked up to the signal. I left the other ones just because I was basically too lazy to replace them with mossy stone bricks again. But you can see here I'm grabbing the bat spawn eggs, and I forget how to get your entire hotbar full of one thing. So I was just grabbing them one at a time. I'll speed it up here really quick because it gets really boring how slow this goes. And I just filled each dispenser, every other dispenser, with, that one was bats, this one will be silverfish, bats, silverfish, etc. This will take a while, so I'll speed this up as well. And you can see it takes so long, and it's really annoying. Might have to go watch a video or something, or if you guys put it in the comments how to speed up the how to grab an entire hotbar full of an item. And you can see here I wait for the bats to spawn, set it back to easy so that I can check to make sure nothing else spawns, and so that the silverfish spawn, because silverfish are classified, of course, as a mob. So I had to check to see if they even spawned correctly, and I realized that because all this water is here and I haven't filled in underneath, so the water is kind of pushing out underneath the corners of the sewer, I had to fill in the sides underneath, so that I stopped the water from like flowing out to where the redstone was and stuff, because all the silverfish would fall into that water, and the water would push them under into the out underneath there. And as you can see, I've got the building here and stuff that I've built a lot of it already. I don't know what it's going to be, either an office building or an apartment complex or something, but I've got like the little lobby there. You could have seen some of the plants and the little chairs and stuff. And this little thing in the corner is my elevator, I guess you could call it. Not really, it's more of just a bounce. But I made this up to the second floor, but I'm definitely going to need more, so I had to check and grab all of the parts that I needed for the second level one. Drop down here just to get the redstone. I don't know why I just didn't go into the redstone section in the creative menu, but you know. So then I filled it in. The reason I use bedrock instead of covering it with anything else is slime blocks can't push bedrock. And if I were to put, like, say the quartz, the chiseled quartz that I'm using, next to the slime block, when the slime block pushed up to bounce me up to the next level, it would grab the quartz as well and push it around, which would have been really annoying. It might have even messed it up a bit. So I decided to just leave those out of there. Leave out the quartz in the areas next to the slime blocks so that it wouldn't mess it all up. And I think even the bedrock doesn't make it look too bad. It almost looks a little industrial. It looks a little bit messy, but you know, not too bad. I checked here to see if I could get up onto the stairs, but you can't. You can only jump that max amount where that chiseled quartz is. So I couldn't jump another half slab to be able to get up there. So I decided to bring the stairs down a bit so that I could walk up, and then I put some stairs here and then wrapped them around the outside, because when I put the second level on, it'll look a little bit nicer if you have like some stairs to climb up onto. And I used red is going to be kind of my, at least in this building, my color, because I want it to be like a really modern city, have some big skyscrapers and stuff like that. But then of course you want to have a little bit of accent. So I grabbed a little bit of red and some dead fire coral blocks, and some quartz slabs, and that's kind of my color and my wall separation and stuff like that. It gives it a little bit more definition. And you guys are actually lucky that I didn't have the other recordings, because they were basically just entire recordings of me filling in block by block of the road and block by block of the glass panes for the windows you see in the building here. So, which is exceedingly boring. So you guys should be happy that those were kind of corrupted. Because I had completely forgotten about, as I said before, the commands that you can use, which is not very helpful. Alright, so I checked the redstone here because I needed to get the redstone down to the piston without making it look too messy. So, there's actually a way. If you saw I had traffic lights, they look really bad. I'm going to probably change them some other time. But down on the road, there's traffic lights. And on one of the traffic lights, there's a crosswalk with an actual light that's on a timer. Like you see in cities and stuff, where it's like, you press the button and stuff, and it says, wait, and then the light turns on, you know, yeah. So I had the, idea to make that, and so I made a big timer that loops around and randomly just turns on the light. It's not like a button turns it on or anything, but, and so I wanted to kind of use that there, because there's a way that you can, place redstone on slabs at one block below each other and then a block to the side, where it can go basically straight up a signal. So I wanted to use that here. The only problem was I was right on the edge. You can see I finally got it to work, and it was hidden underneath. But I wanted it a little bit more hidden than that. It was kind of annoying that it wasn't hidden as much as I would have liked. But I wanted to use kind of the vertical redstone signal idea to just connect them a little bit nicer. The only problem was it didn't work for some reason here, the slabs, so I had to just revert back to placing the button lower on, like, right next to the piston, basically. And I was able to hide it with the quartz pillars that you saw me place earlier around it. So I don't think it looked that bad. And I've chosen to use end rods as lighting in most of these buildings, I think I might. Just because it looks a little bit nicer. It just looks a little bit more, like, modern than... Of course, torches and stuff are not modern. But even redstone lamps, they're just kind of bulky, and they don't look that nice, even, I don't think, at least. And plus, it would have been kind of messy to put all of the redstone and stuff, unless I had, like, a hole going straight through the roof for daylight sensors to turn them on during the night and stuff. But, that still would have been a little messy to have just a random hole in the ground. You can see here I'm putting up the pillars for the second level. because I'm gonna fill that in probably later in the episode. And I don't really know what I want this to be. If you guys have any suggestions, whether it should be like a apartment building or a office building or something like that, I don't know. You guys leave it in the comments what you think this building should be. I'll do everything basically in this city at one time or another. So, just let me know what you think it should be. It's not really set up for anything right now. All I have is this first floor, so I can fill this in with anything. Either of them would have a reception area, a office building, or a apartment, so that's fine to leave there in the lobby. But I was grabbing a bunch of different blocks to try and see which one I wanted for the second floor's floor, or the ceiling for the bottom floor. So I grabbed some, polished diorite, grabbed some smooth stone, and then I think later on I grab, bone block, I think. I just grab a bunch of different random blocks that look a little bit gray and nice. And then I set them up on the wall to see how they would look. There's the bone block, yeah. I grabbed this, and I think that's all I grab. I might grab like white concrete or something, and I set them up, just a layer of them on the wall, to see how they would look as ground. Which you'll see in a second. There's not really anything else in here. These are all just colorful stuff, so... And I was thinking about putting slabs. It would give a little bit of definition, which I might do in the higher levels. You can see the pillars. I don't really like the pillars. They have too many lines on them. The diorite is just a little bit too messy. I kind of like that, but I wanted to check out the bone block, and bone block is perfect. It's got a little bit of color variation in the striations of it and stuff. So I decided to use the fill command finally. So I checked out my coordinates here, and then went across to the other side and checked out my coordinates, filled that in with bone block, and as you can see, it did not fill it in sideways as I thought it would, which of course, why would it? It's code. So you can see it put it in vertically. But I thought, hey, I already put it in, first of all. I'm not going to break all this. That would be very annoying to break. But then I was like, hey, it kind of looks nice. It gives it a little bit, even more definition and stuff. I might fill in the bottom, cover the bottom with some slabs or something maybe. But, I don't know. I kind of like it. So I filled in the rest of this using the different commands and stuff. If you want to know, this is a fill command that I'm using. You do /fill, and then do one set of coordinates, and then do a space, and then another set of coordinates, and that tells Minecraft that you want to fill between those coordinates with a certain block, and then you say the Minecraft ID of the block that you want to fill it with after that. So say like this one, I said /fill, whatever the coordinates were, Minecraft : bone block, and then press enter, bone_block, and then press enter, and it will automatically just fill in all of that, and it's really, really nice. That was, again, one of the reasons I never really built big things on my Xbox as I wanted to, because it doesn't have something like that, and I would have had to have placed all the blocks by hand, which, in fact, I did build a cruise ship one time, but, I mean, even a small cruise ship where in PC, where I can just use commands and stuff to fill it in, it took me like, I don't know, it took me a couple weeks even to do just the first level, just because I had to place blocks and then break the blocks, because part of the ship, of course, was underwater. And so when I built the outline of the ship, I had to place blocks in the water and then break those blocks in order to get rid of the water. At that time, this was before sponges and stuff. This was a long time ago. So that was why after I built that, I never really did anything else, because I was kind of just tired of trying to do that. It took a while. But in this, it's just easier and a lot more fun. Here you can see me, I'm trying to make a chandelier. But this idea, I didn't really like the look of that. It looked a little bit too bulky, and it hung down a little bit too low. Surprisingly, I didn't make these ceilings quite tall enough to do a chandelier. I might later on. I might make a like a banquet hall or something like that. You can see there were a couple bone blocks that I placed that weren't perfect. So those are nice there. Put in some more end rods to stop the spawning, because you could see all of the all the mobs there. Jeez, it's crazy. And then covered up the center of it. I might clean it up a little bit later, put it into nicer lines or something. But I kind of like the look of this. It looks nice. The circles on the bone block and stuff. I set the difficulty back to peaceful, so that all those mobs stop. And then, as you can see, there's sheep and stuff. And I didn't want them spawning, so I set the game rule to no spawning of any mobs. And then I turned my chunks down to like the minimum, so that those animals that were there despawned. And then I turn them back up, don't worry. But all of those bats that were hanging out underneath here and all the sheep and stuff, they were just kind of annoying. It just kind of got in the way of building sometimes. So you can use the command /game rule, do spawning, all one word, and then I think it's on or off or yes or no. I don't remember exactly. You can go back and look. But, so I changed that, I set that in, and I turned it off so that now no mobs will spawn until I turn it back on. Even the ones, I don't think they will even spawn in, for my sewer. But you can see here, oh my gosh, I made a huge mistake. I put in, instead of a negative coordinate, I put in a positive coordinate, which is a good thing that it wasn't a super far coordinate, or else there would have been miles of quartz blocks. So it filled in all of what I wanted, but then it also covered up and overhang, I don't know, miles across there, and didn't fill in everything. So yeah, I had to go through and I had to break that off of the entrance, had to replace all the, what are they, chiseled quartz blocks, around the top edge, and then finally I was able to finish off that area. And I placed in some more end rods, set it to midnight to make sure it was dark enough, put in some more just because it wasn't. And then I filled in this little area here that hadn't been filled in by any commands, because it was kind of, I built the edges of the building kind of like randomly, made it look a little, not randomly, but made it have some definition, like it was cut in a little bit and stuff like that in certain areas. So that area that I just filled in didn't line up with any of the areas that I used the fill command in. But you can see here that I'm putting in some more glass on the second level, and I thought for some reason that it was blue glass that I was using, light blue, but in fact it was white. Of course, it looks nicer as white. Blue's just, I mean, of course, since red is my color, blue wouldn't look good anyway. But on this second level, I kind of moved everything in. I've moved the pillars in a level, except for that corner one for some reason. But all the other pillars I've moved in a level just to give it a little bit of definition. And then I went around and placed all of the glass here. Realized that these weren't placed in like the ones on the other side were. So went back, destroyed them up till here, up till the elevator, and then went back into the area I was before. Placed in the glass panes, and I think that's gonna do it for this video. I'm looking here, because as post-recording, I'm actually watching this. You can see there's actually a block there that I misplaced again. So just remember to smash the like button, hit subscribe, and comment below if you like this video, and I'll see you guys, as always, in the next episode.